I'm always keeping in mind that our time is very limited in our periods. I have 41 minutes to accomplish all the goals and the tasks that we want to do. So I really do have to be purposeful with my planning and think about what exactly it is that students need to be able to do. So in the beginning of the class, we always start with, by the end of today or by the end of this lesson, you will be able to do this, or this is what we're working on, so that students know, and that way it keeps our purpose for that lesson as the focus. The purpose of the bridge is to teach students that they can transfer what they've learned in one language to the other. We're asking students to analyze the vocabulary, the words, the parts of the word, how they look, how they sound, what they mean in one language. And if you can do that in one, then we compare it to the other. And a lot of times they'll be able to see, oh, I know this in Spanish, so I've heard of this in English, and since they look the same, sound the same, or they recognize a part of the word, they can really apply that to their learning across different subjects.
I think being able to speak two languages helped definitely with my confidence in speaking. Bridging, honestly, helped with my confidence in speaking. Para mí, la puente me ayudó para ver algo que no sabe, como una palabra, y tener las herramientas para ver qué es definición.
For a lot of students, they struggle a little bit more with the Spanish, and some might struggle a little bit more with the English. And the bridge is really great because they help one another, they support one another.
Differentiating instruction is a method that we use here at the elementary school in order to make sure that instruction is more purposeful and targeted towards each individual child. The standards that are taught in the classroom are the same to every child, but those students will learn them at a different rate. And what we want to do is make sure that all students are learning them. The rigor stays high, but we may have to go back and reteach students at different times throughout the year, and that's why we use differentiation.
The first thing you need to do is build that relationship so there's trust within students and teacher, and setting classroom expectations. And then from there on, when it comes to seeing where they're at with the content that they're learning, we use exit slips. Very simple, one question. Once I collect them, I grade them, and then I'm able to place my students in groups where I see my students that understand the outcome that we were trying to reach. Then I see the students that need a little bit more reteaching, and I know to have, I call it an exit slip conference, where I'll pull them to the side and we'll go over that specific problem.
After you're trying it over and over, when it finally clicks, that's like the best moment of teaching for me, because that gives me my drive to keep trying different things. That piece of it is what fills me up and keeps me coming back. Even if I've tried 17 different things and it hasn't worked, there's always another way to try it.
With the SOAR support period, we really are embracing that PLC model of our students versus just specifically my students. So during today's SOAR support session, for example, most of the students that were in that room were not my own. And what it really allows for us to do is to differentiate for where students may be struggling. So instead of just I myself am working on just this one topic and trying to catch those students. Instead, now I'm working with a bunch of different students, and since there's so many teachers on that support period, we can split up of like, this teacher's talking on this topic, this teacher's working with students that are struggling on this topic, and this teacher is maybe reteaching something to a group of students that missed a given day or are working on something that maybe is like a retake component of their assignment. When trying to reteach in a larger group, it's harder to pull out where those individual students may be struggling. Some of those misconceptions may be hidden. In a SOAR support, when you're working and you're talking one-on-one with that student, or you're working and you're talking one to maybe a group of like 3 or 4 different students, it really allows the teacher to dive in deeper to ask those probing questions that may allow for us to figure out where the student is struggling, and then provide them those guidance and those resources to help them better understand the material at that point in time.
You can kind of ask questions free of judgment from the class, honestly, you know, because you're always thinking what the rest of your classmates are thinking, but that's irrelevant when you're just one-on-one with your teacher.
I think it's really helpful that you have like your own control, because you know yourself the best. Like, although you have teachers, you don't have the same teacher for every class. They don't know what you're struggling with the most, but you do. So I think having that choice allows you to focus on where you really need to go the most, and where you really feel the most behind on, and the things that you may have missed more than other classes. And I think that having that choice really allows you to direct your learning into the best environment for yourself.
As educators, we're always focused on student growth and we're always focused on student learning. And I think one of the things about the SOAR support period is students are coming in and we're really trying to figure out where there may be gaps in their learning, and it's really rewarding once you see that like a student that came in there that may have had basically no direction now has that direction of a pathway to success in this course.